All right. Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us for tonight's team call. Oh, there's Lisa. Lisa's on. Lisa, I was just going to do intro, but you're on. So why don't you hop on and you can introduce Tawnya.
Sorry about that. I didn't realize
Yeah,
I
you're
was
good.
late. Hey, hi, Tawnya.
Hi.
Did you hit record? You did? Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Okay. No worries. It's all
Hey, guys. Welcome to tonight's Team Arise call. Super, super excited to have Tawnya Landis speak with us tonight. I have known Tawnya for 6 years. She is on the other side of my downline from Team Arise. So she is on the right side. And she is just one of my favorite people. I just adore her. She has been a coach for 6 years. She has a mom. She's a mom to 3 kids. One is a teenager. We've been talking about that. I know, I had quite the night with my team, so I can relate. 9-star diamond in her first business center, 3-star in her second. She is a 3-time elite, a 6-figure earner, and she is a marriage counselor with her husband, and she just won Mrs. Clackamas County in Oregon, and she's running for Mrs. Oregon coming in March.
Yeah,
I added that in.
I
I'm so proud of you. I know, but I know a lot about you. So thank you for being here, and I won't chat too much, and just thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for having me. I am honored to be on this call tonight, and I love that you guys have a great team with Lisa and Rose, even though I'm on the other side. But no, I have a great relationship with Lisa. I adore Lisa. And for those of you that don't know, my coach is Jessica Vandenberg, and she was actually a free coach lead to Lisa. And then I randomly met Jessie. So it's just interesting how life works. And if you're not qualified to get free coach leads, you really should, because you could end up with someone like Jessie, who's absolutely phenomenal. So anyway, I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory. I'm going to be talking tonight about the topic of fear of success. And, oh, Rose was a free coach lead too. Why do I get coach leads like that? You are lucky, girl. That's awesome. That's so cool. Sorry, I digress. I'm like one of those people that can be easily distracted. Sorry about that. So I want to give you a little bit of backstory so you'll know where I'm coming from when I speak to you guys on the topic of the fear of success. I'm going to be talking about that tonight. And then also give you some tips to overcome the fear of success. So my backstory is I am one of those people that has always been super driven. I went to college on mostly an academic scholarship, and then I worked my way through the last few years of college to get through it. I've always worked really hard because I wanted to get that job, right? And I, supported myself all through school, did all of that, graduated, was recruited out of college for a big job with a big technology company. I had a few different offers. So it was really cool. I thought, oh, this is awesome. Like everything's going to be in place. Had this amazing job, like everything looked beautiful on paper, even had a signing bonus, was a couple years into the job. I had my husband, everything, and I flipping hated that job. Like, I hated driving to that job every day, and everybody's like, oh, you're so lucky. You've got this amazing position with this company. I'm not going to name the company, but it's very well known. But it just wasn't for me. I had worked all those years in school and was like, oh my gosh, now I'm in a job I hate. What the heck happened? Like, how did this happen? So then finally, was like, well, I was offered another, a business opportunity to actually open my own insurance agency with my husband. And so I left that big corporate job, and people are like, you're insane. What are you doing leaving that big job? I'm like, no, this opportunity is great. I'm going to go over and we're going to open this agency. And we opened the agency. It did great. Everything was perfect. We even were able to buy a house with a white picket fence in front of it. Like, We had our baby boy, like life was great, or so we thought. We would, we worked really hard though. My husband and I worked really hard in our agency. And then we, served our clientele, did all of that, had our big, beautiful home, our really nice cars, and our perfect little boy. Then it was, we decided we wanted to have another baby. So we got pregnant again. My husband was doing real estate on the side. We had opened a real estate firm in addition to our insurance agency, and we had like 10 or 12 properties that we owned. Everything was like cruising along. And then anybody remember 2008? Like, everything went to crap. So February of 2008, I gave birth to our daughter, who was very, very, very sick, like life-threatening sick for several years. We didn't know what was wrong with her. The doctors were constantly trying to figure it out. We saw specialist after specialist, hospital visits. It's actually just recently that I'm actually able to talk about it without falling and, just like completely falling apart. So just so you know, you guys are getting the version where I'm hopefully not going to fall apart. But that happened. And at the same time, the real estate market crashed. So we, over the period of the next years, we lost everything, because here we had all of our money wrapped in real estate. We had our savings and everything. We did everything you're supposed to do. Like, we were Dave Ramsey followers. Like, we thought we were doing things right. Of course, maybe we should have paid cash for all the real estate. I don't know. But we lost it all. And we actually ended up in bankruptcy. And it was very painful. And here we had gone from here to like lower than we thought. And guys, the financial problems were terrible, but the child being sick was way worse. I would have traded anything to not have her go through that, what that poor child has been through. And so here we are, like completely down and out. Like, I mean, we had to get on assistance, which here we are, both college educated, like went from 6 figures to state assistants. And I remember the day that I walked into the state assistant's office, and it was my pride that was keeping me out of there. It took me quite a while to be able to have the guts to go in there, but we were like desperate. Like, we were, if it wasn't taken away, like I sold everything. Like, there wasn't anything else I could sell, and just to make ends meet. And we ended up going, I ended up going into the Department of Human Services office, completely just devastated, like with my kids, and I went in there and I was like, this is embarrassing. Oh, and in the midst of this chaos, you guys, I got pregnant again. Now, I was someone that struggled with fertility, and I got pregnant on birth control with our 3rd baby. So it was this story is very interesting. Sorry, there's a lot of moving pieces, but I firmly believe a lot of it happened to get us to where we are today. So we went in there, had my, said, I don't know what to do. Like, I have this sick kid. Her medications cost $500 even after insurance pays for it. The medical bills are piling up. I don't know what, my husband's working as many hours as he can. I can't work because I'm not going to leave her at the hospital by herself. And I'm going to be there for her. And I'm going to be the one that takes care of her. And the DHS lady was like, sweetie, why didn't you come in sooner? You're exactly the reason that we have these programs in place. And I remember her saying that, and it was like, oh. And so that was a huge, it was a very big defining moment in our lives. And because I'd always been someone that had worked really hard and always had been able to like make things happen. There were struggles, but we just went down and out. So that happened, and a lot of it, it was a hard time. But out of that, I remember thinking like, okay, well, if I could just go get a job, then I could help our problems. But here I am with 3 kids, can't afford daycare, and I am marketable. Like, I can get a job, but what am I going to do with these kids, especially this one that is sick? And the other thing I realized is, even though as bad as everything was, and I came home to be with our daughter and I couldn't work anymore, I sold our insurance agency. We lived off that money for a while. I realized that I wanted to be with my kids. Like I no longer wanted to be that mom that was working all those hours. I wanted to be with them. I only have them for a short window, and I wanted to be there with them. But I also wanted to do something as well. So I went to a dance class for my daughter. She was in a little dance thing, and I was sitting there eating Cheez-Its and drinking Diet Dr. Pepper because I pretty much just kind of let everything go. Like, I was wearing yoga pants and I was not doing yoga. I couldn't lose the rest of my baby weight. Like, I was a mess. And I met Jessie, my sponsor, and she started talking to me, and she's like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, what? Why are you talking to me? And she just started asking me how I was doing. And then she shared with me that, she was in health and fitness. And here I am shoving Cheez-Its in my mouth and my soda pop. And I'm like, yeah, I probably shouldn't be eating these. I've been thinking about doing something, but I can't get to the gym with all these kids. I don't know what to do. And there's so much information out there. It's completely overwhelming, like, to try and do it on your own. And she's like, no, I totally understand. And she talked to me about Beachbody and like being a challenger in her group. And I was like, that's awesome. Yeah, but I don't know about that. I can't really afford that. So that was in October. In December, she'd followed up with me. She kept following up with me and kept staying in check. And she's really good at that. If you've met her, she's amazing at follow up. So she followed up with me, and she was telling me, you should do the coach opportunity because then you could pay for your shakes. And I was like, well, I don't know about that, but I need something and I want to do this. So I used our Christmas money, my Christmas money, and my husband let me use his to buy a Turbo Challenge and Shakeology Challenge pack. And they were not $140 back then. And it was $205. I remember, because I remember my husband's like, you want to buy what? And so I pulled our Christmas money we had gotten from my parents and his parents together. And that's what I bought. And I signed up in December of 2011. And remember drinking that Shakeology and like just doing that, even still eating Cheez-Its and drinking soda, and was like, wow, this stuff is like liquid gold. Like, I feel so much better because I'd been fueling on junk, sugar, Cheez-Its, or whatever else I could get my hands on, and caffeine. And I started feeling better. And then I started working out, and I got into the Beachbody community, and it just really made a big impact in my life. Because here I was home with 3 kids. I couldn't really go places because of my daughter's immune system at the time. It was dangerous. And so, I was kind of stuck at home. And I remember I wanted to get my shakes paid for because we didn't have the money, to pay for those shakes. So I reached out, even though I was, not at my goals yet. I didn't like working out when I started. I was still drinking soda and eating sugar, you guys. So I was not like your ideal coach. I had every reason not to coach, but every reason that I should coach. But Jesse's like, just invite some people to a challenge group. And I'm like, okay. And so I invited a couple people, and and I ended up getting a small challenge group. There was like 4 or 5 of us in this group, and I was running it, and I just showed up every day because I showed up for them. I was like, well, I don't really feel like doing my workout, but I have these people in this group, so I probably should do my workout. And I really want to shove this cupcake in my mouth, but there's all these people in this group, these 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, I shouldn't eat that cupcake. So it really helped me stay accountable to my goals. But then I decided in that first month, I was able to pay back my $205 pack plus made some extra money. And then I thought, what would be cool is if I could pay for our groceries. So I made that my goal. I'm like, I'm going to pay for our groceries. And guys, I actually did that in the next month. I paid for our groceries, family of 5, 2 kids in diapers. I paid for all of our groceries plus the 2 kids of diapers because I did not want to be on state assistance anymore. So I wanted off of that. It's great. It is there to help people, and it was there to help me at a time that I needed, and I'm so grateful for that, but I wanted to be off of it. So, and I felt like I could do it. So I did that. Then I was like, what if I could pay our house payment? So I was able to do that in 6 months, and it was pretty awesome. Then things are rolling around, and then I got in my head, and then I'm like, oh, hold on. Like, this is going too fast. Like, I'm, like things are going, really good. And I wasn't consistent with my personal development. I was in the beginning, but then I kind of felt like, oh, I don't need that. I'm good. I've got this down. But what happened was I started getting in my own head. And it took me a while to realize that I actually had a fear of being successful, because I had been at what I thought was the top and I had been at the bottom. And that fall from the top to the bottom was very, very painful. And I just thought, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being successful. And this is not like something that I realized right away. It's something that took me a little bit of time. But I realized that I wasn't fearing that I would fail. I was fearing that I would succeed. And what if I lost it all again? And, like what had happened before. And I remember telling now I look back at it and and I see that clear as day. But back then it was like, I didn't know what the block was, but I had to uncover that block because it was crippling me in my business. And I remember going on a Success Club trip because I earned the trip to Disney, which was really cool back then. And I remember listening to these top 10 coaches speak at that trip. I went and listened to them. If you guys are going on a Success Club trip, please make sure you go to the corporate things because they are valuable. That's where I had one of my biggest aha moments. And I honestly don't know if I would be here speaking to you if I wouldn't have gone to that. But I remember going to that and hearing the top 10 coaches talk about how they struggled, with their success, and then how they struggled with failure, and how great the Beachbody opportunity was for their life. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, Tawnya, you got to get out of your head. Why not you? You have this family that, that is amazing. You've got these amazing kids. You've got this daughter that one of my big whys at the time when I started was, part of it was to be able to give, my daughter the medical care that she needed, because not all of the treatments that she needed were covered. Some of them were considered unconventional because they're naturopath. And honestly, that's what saved her. So there's all these like what if scenarios that run in my head. Like, what if I wouldn't have done that? But I thought, well, I would love to just be able to, pay for all of those treatments and like all these different things that I could do for our family. I'm like, why not me? Why am I like, I just need to get over it and get through, my fear of success. So whether you're fearing success or you're fearing failure, it's all the same, you guys. Whatever your fear is like a prison, right? It keeps you, enclosed, and it keeps you from your dreams and your wishes. And it's not a good feeling, whether it's you fear failure, whether you fear rejection, whether you fear success. Fear is the issue. That's the root of the problem. So what you need to do is you need to allow that fear to motivate you. You need to take action. You need to put it, I know it's easier said than done, but I'm going to give you some tips to help you. But really, it can change your life, because otherwise it's, just remember, it's like a prison, whatever you're fearing. And I tell my kids this all the time, like, they'll, one of my daughters really likes to dance, but she didn't want, to get on the stage. Like, she's a beautiful dancer, loves dancing, but she hates the stage. And I'm like, girl, I know you don't like getting up there, but you got to do it. And, you've got to face it. Like, let's face it, because it's going to help you grow. And she was like, okay. And she did. And now she loves it, and she gets up there and she's amazing. So my first thing is, what you need to do is you need to have your why. So you need to write down your why. Like, why are you in this business? Like, what do you want from it? What do you want this opportunity to do for you? If you, are in the 80-day group that we have, or you've heard like anybody, anybody talk about the coach opportunity, everybody has a why. What is your why? It's not enough to say, well, I want to make money. Why do you want to make money? Well, I want to leave my job. Why do you want to leave your job? Or I want to go on vacation. Like, why do you want to go on vacation? What would that do for you to go on vacation? What would that do for your family? How would that make you guys feel if you were able to go on a vacation? How would it make you feel if you were able to pay off, let's say you have a credit card that's just like, weighing on you? What would it feel like to actually send the check in and be done with that credit card? Like, how would that feel? So those are things that you really need to connect with. You need to have a deep why. And I would take time to journal it, like take 10 to 15 minutes and write from your heart, because you have to have that. That is your first step in overcoming fear. And a lot of people don't take time to do this. They like, oh, I just want to, work the business, make $500,000 or pay for my shakes. But then they quit when it gets hard because they don't have a why. So when that fear starts coming in because it starts getting hard or somebody makes a comment, then you're like, I'm out of here, because you're not connected with your why. And so write that down and, take some time to journal it. Like a lot of times I'll do it, early in the morning. And you guys, your why can change over time. Like my daughter is healthy now. We don't have financial issues anymore because of Beachbody. And so my why is completely changed. And so you want to be reconnecting with that why often, so that you make sure, is it evolving? Did you meet that why? If you guys heard Lindsay Matway's call that she did on the National Wake Up Call, she talked a lot about that. So if you haven't listened to that one, I would make sure you go back and listen. The next thing that you need to do, number 2, is own your excuses. So whatever excuse you're giving yourself, you need to own it, realize it's an excuse, and what are you going to do about it? So like, if you're like, gosh, I just don't have time. You guys, nobody has extra time unless you're like a teenager. I hear from my kids all the time, they're bored. They have time. But all of us, we find ways to fill our lives. One of my top coach on my team is a doctor, a very successful doctor. She has 2 toddlers, and girl is, making a couple $1,000s a week. Guys, she did that part-time. All right. Now, does she have time? If you looked at her work schedule, your eyes would like roll back in your head. Like, she is busy, but you know what? She connected with her why, and she has a strong why, and she's very focused with her time. So own your excuses. And like, are you using your time valuably? Like, what are you doing with your time? Like I did a video in my car today before an appointment because it was a busy day. And then I had to get up at 5 a.m. and work my business at 5 a.m. this morning, because that's what I have to do on a busy day. So you have to make sure, everybody has time. It's finding those times. If you're thinking like, I'm not good enough, you are. Everybody's good enough. Anybody can do this business, but it's the people that actually put in the effort and take action that are actually going to be successful. So whatever excuse you have, you need to own it, acknowledge it. Like, I'm not saying you have to bury it. I think that's where people like, they try to push past it and they don't deal with it. Deal with your excuses and then own it. Okay, what am I going to do about this excuse? Because I will tell you, you will have excuses. I still have excuses. I'm like, gosh, my bed is really warm this morning. I really don't feel like getting up. I think I'm going to hit snooze again. But then I'm like, no, I can't hit snooze. And there are some days that I mess up like everybody does, but own it. Own your excuses. The third thing is your mindset. So what's your mindset like? Because your mind is what's gonna, it can be your best friend or your own worst enemy. And I see this all the time, is that, people will talk themselves out of something. It's like they start thinking too much about it. And that's what happened to me. I was like, gosh, like, I can't do this. Who am I to be doing this? Like, this business, like what was I thinking? And then I had to own, get my mindset right. And that comes with personal development. And I would encourage everybody to be doing personal development. And I personally know that they say 10 minutes, but guys, I don't think 10 minutes is enough. Like I say, you need to do more. And everyone on my team knows, I think YouTubes are awesome. Videos are awesome. National Wake Up Call is awesome. But and you should be doing those. But I also want to challenge you to go through a book, whether you read the book or listen to the book on Audible. I feel like it's just like your fitness program. So if you have like your workout, like let's say you're going to do the 21-day fix, right? You do the 21-day fix from day 21 to 21. You do the whole calendar and you do the food with it too, right? Then you're going to get the full results. What happens if you're doing the 21-day fix and you're like, gosh, I'm today I'm going to do quarter floors, and then today I'm going to go to the gym, and then today I'm going to run, and you're just kind of all over the place, right? And you're the same way with your nutrition. Do you think that you're going to get the same results? You won't get the same results. I feel the same way a book. Read it from start to finish. If it doesn't resonate with you, grab another book, okay? It's just not the right book for what you need. But I feel like there's something to be said for going through a book, getting all the concepts. And I've been going through books ever since I made the commitment to PD. And I've also listened to tons of YouTube. I've done a lot of that, you guys. But I would say that I have a very expensive college education, and my personal development education is more valuable to me. Like, that's how important it is. And I know, it's helped me grow in ways I never thought were possible. If I'm feeling like, down or having some issues with something, like, I will pop in PD and it helps me. So make sure you're doing personal development. It's going to help your mindset. Another thing that I like to do is in the morning, I set my mindset right. I have whether that's through prayer or meditation, whatever you need to do, take 5 minutes to set your mindset. Before you go and check your phone and you're like, I got to get in my email, I got to check my Facebook. You need to take 5 minutes and get your mindset right. And a lot of times I'll do that while I'm still in bed. My alarm will go off, I'll turn it off, and then I will be like, all right, what's my intention for this day? What do I want to have out of this day? And that's what I do to get my mindset right, because there's so much stuff that can happen throughout the day, especially I have 3 children. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of you, like, if you have jobs or you're parents or you have dogs, like, stuff happens like you're not prepared for. If you've got your mindset right, then you can deal with it better. But if you wake up and you're just in that hurry mode and you're like, oh, I'll get to it at some point, it's going to ruin your day. So get your mindset right first thing. The next thing, the last thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is taking action. So you have your why, you've connected with it, you own your excuses and acknowledge them, you get your mindset, and then you take action. It's time to take action. Like, you said you're going to do this business. What do you need to do? So, and you guys, you have the tools. I know your leaders, they give you the tools. Of course, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the vital behaviors, but do the vital behaviors. But take action, because if you don't take action and if you've got a dream and you don't take action on it, it's really just a wish. But if you take action on it, it can happen. And I know it can be scary. Like, I was someone that was scared of being successful. And if you're scared of failure is inevitable. It happens to everybody. We all started out our lives failing, because I doubt any of us, walked right away when we came out of, we all fell. And so, we've all failed already, you guys. But we just keep getting back up, and that's what matters. But don't let it hold you back, because I'm going to share with you in closing what Beachbody has done for our life. So I shared the beginning, I've shared where we've come from. So I've been a multiple six-figure earner since, 2000. I believe I hit 6 figures, and this is my third or fourth year. Gosh, that's really bad, you guys. But I've been fully supporting our family of 5. And because of that, we have been able to, we live in an amazing house now that I absolutely love. We have been on so many amazing trips. Like, I took my family to Europe a couple years ago on a one-way ticket, and we just kind of, went around France, and then we went around Italy. And these are things I would have never thought before when I was sitting in that DHS office signing up and for food stamps. And so, you guys, we've been able to pay for medical care for our daughter, who is doing phenomenal right now, that we wouldn't have been able to get for her because it was considered an alternative treatment. And now I pay that every single month, because that's what's helping her. And I've been able to, we've been able to do things that we wouldn't have been able to do. One thing was, I did retire my husband. He was working, should have shared more about this part, but that man was working as many hours as he could, doing anything that he could to support our family, to get us out of the hole we were in. But the hole was pretty deep, and there were only so many hours in the day, and being able to get him, you know, out of that job was amazing. And he came home and lasted at home for 2 days, and then started his own company, which is actually doing really well. So it's been, you know, and that wouldn't have happened without Beachbody. I'm in the best shape of my life. I actually love working out. I kicked my sugar habit, kicked my soda pop habit. And so it cracks me up. Like, people that didn't know me back then, they're like, "You eat Cheez-Its?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I was a pop addict. So, you know, we're the healthiest of, you know, I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And I'll be 40 this year. And, it's just been incredible what Beachbody has been able to do. So definitely, you know, allow yourself to have success, because if I wouldn't have done that, then I would still be like probably stuck on the hamster wheel, like, you know, of life, like just like, okay, how do I get off this? How do I get off this? And, you know, if you ever felt like that, like, I feel like, you know, so many of us, you know, I felt like that after college. Was like, here I'm at this great job and I'm on a hamster wheel, and then things are going good and then they fall apart and I'm on a hamster wheel. And it's like, I don't want to be on a freaking hamster wheel. I want to be on my own track. I want to live my life the way that I design it, instead of how somebody else tells me to live it. And so that's what Beachbody has allowed myself and ultimately our family to do. And I can't even believe it. So do not let your fear hold you back. I was someone that I almost quit, you guys. I almost quit Beachbody, and thank God I didn't, because I would still be on that stupid hamster wheel and we'd still, you know, probably be in a hole. So just make sure that whatever you're fearing, that you face it head on. Use my tips, your why, your excuses, you know, own your excuses. Get your mindset right and take action, because anything is possible. And I want 2018 to be the most amazing year for you guys, because I decided in February of 2013 to just take hold of it, and my business took off. Like, that was the year that I hit elite, I hit 5-star, and at the beginning of that year, I was considering quitting. So it's pretty amazing what you can do in just 1 year. And then the next year I hit 6 figures. So that's my story. Do you guys have any questions?
That was absolutely awesome. Just hearing your story from beginning to end, it just, wow, incredible. And so happy. Thanks for sharing your story about your daughter too. I know that's a little bit personal, but I mean, you made it freaking happen. So that is what it's all about. You had a why and you just went for it.
Thank you.
Anyone have any questions? I can always come up with one, but don't be shy.
I have a question.
Sure.
Building your business and reaching out, how did you go about that? Like, reaching out to customers, you know, did you share your story? Like, what worked best for you?
So when I started, and my business was built primarily on social media, because I shared my daughter, I had 3 kids. So getting out of the house was like a feat on its own. So what I did is I built rapport with people. I was a girl that didn't post any pictures of myself on my social media. The picture I did have was super old. And then I would just post pictures of my kids, but I would barely post, and I didn't have very many friends. So I had to expand my network. So I started just sharing my journey and sharing about our lives and being honest. I was really honest about the fact that I drank soda the first year I was a coach, but I was still drinking my Shakeology. So it took me a while to kick that habit. But I just, I started talking to people. I started reaching out and making connections. Social media has changed a little bit. So my best tips for that right now would be, making sure that you're showing up on there. Like if you're on Instagram, doing Instagram stories, and then just connecting with people. Like I'll connect with people. If somebody likes my post or comments on it, I'll reach out to them. if I think there's someone I want to work with, I'll be like, hey Rose, thank you so much for the support on my post. I want to check in and see how you're doing. What have you been up to? Or hey Rose, thank you for the support on my workout post I did this morning. It's kind of hard sometimes putting yourself out there, but I really appreciate it. Are you into health and fitness too? Just something very simple and very natural. And that's what I did to build. Does that help? And if you have a fear of rejection, so I had a fear of rejection too. Like that was my other fear, was like rejection. And I had to realize that like these people, like it doesn't matter. Like if they're going to, if they say no, it's usually because there's something going on in their own life. Like I say no to things I said no to signing up with Jessie in the beginning, and she followed up with me, but it was because I was scared. So I always look at it that way, is like, it's not about me, it's about them. And if someone's rude, I don't really want to be friends with them anyways. So then, and then I'm like, yeah, that's okay. That's just one person off my list, but it doesn't happen that often. But usually if they say no, or, they're not responsive, it's because there's something going on with them. And so building that rapport, I think, is important. But just reach out, like.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, absolutely. Just making connections with people and just talk to people. Something I saw today was, before you actually post, you want to comment, not just like, but comment on 10 people's posts that you're trying to get to know, post, and then go back, comment on 10 more people, and then make sure that you're commenting right after your post. Like that first 10, 15 minutes after you post is really important. So make sure you don't just post and run away. Like make sure you're connecting and having those conversations with people when it's happening.
So Kim, follow-up. So I'm a queen of follow-ups. So that's actually a good question for me. 99.9% of my Success Club points come from follow-ups. And people always say, thank you for not giving up on me. I get that message all the time. So what I do is I wait a couple of days to follow up with them. And then I'll, if they're not, I'll say hey, I just wanted to make sure you got my message. I know Facebook can be weird. Or I'll send them a voice memo. I like voice memos because then they hear your voice and then they know you're a real person and you took the time to send them a voice memo. And then if they don't respond, I'll follow up with them again in 5 days. And then let them know hey, I just want to make sure, you got this. Do you have any questions? And then I'll put them on my next month. That's how I do it without seeming pushy. It's just basically asking them, because I know people get busy. I'm a mom. If I read a message and I right before I pick up my kids in carpool and then I don't respond, it's because I forgot and I got busy. And I think a lot of us are that way. And so that's the way that I do it. But I follow up like that. And like I said, 99.9% of my Success Club points, and I'm a Success Club 10 legend, and I've been hitting Success Club for 5.5 years straight, is from follow-ups. I just follow up with them.
And it's your intention that's behind it. If you feel like you're being a pain, you know what I mean? Follow up with the intention of I'm helping people, I'm being a coach and being their support system. So be that for them, be that support system. You're not being a pain, you're being what our job is, right? Is to not let people use those excuses of the time and whatever, because that's what it's about.
Well, and that's why a lot of people will sign up with me. They're well, I know that if you were, because you were so good about following up with me, I know that you're not going to abandon me.
Exactly.
And that's what they say to me. They're I know you won't give up on me. And that's why they sign up with me. And that's just something that but she's right. If you're feeling like you're being a pain, then maybe you are, or check your fear. Is it fear that you think that they're going to reject you, or that they saw your message and you're feeling bad because they didn't respond? Don't make it about you. Make it about them. What do they need?
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, we took up some of your night, but thank you so very much for hopping on. And I know everyone was private messaged me too, and this was amazing. So thank you.
Thank you guys for having me. Have a wonderful evening. Thanks, Rose.
You too. Have a good night, everybody. Bye.
Bye.